This is the Saturday, July 18th, 2020 edition of the Dark Illumination Report Podcast Extra. And on this episode, we're going to talk about the importance of keeping your personal connection with Satan strong.
This is a Dark Illumination Report Extra with RJ Womack.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for another episode of the podcast. This is the Dark Illumination Report Podcast, and I'm your host, RJ Womack, aka Brother Nero, your friendly neighborhood diabolist. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about the importance of keeping your personal connection with Satan strong. And the reason that's important is because as you get away from being a soul practitioner and you start becoming a person who gets involved with groups, you're going to find that there are a lot of people who are going to tell you how to worship Satan and what you should be doing in order to serve Satan. And you want to make sure that you're listening to what Satan has to tell you. So you want to look for signs, omens. You want to feel that connection, that intuition, and you want to let that guide you and not let the opinions of other people affect your relationship with Satan. That's very important. And the reason I bring this up is because, just to give you an example of my own personal life, as this podcast gets bigger, I get emails from people all the time now telling me, what they think I should do and how they think I should do it. And they tell me, oh, you should do this with the ministry and you should do that with the ministry. And most of their advice is really well-intentioned. It's good advice. There's nothing wrong with it. And they're obviously people who care about Satanism or care about diabolism and care about Satan and care about his work. So they're not doing it in any way to be negative or to cause harm to Satan's cause. They're giving me advice that they think is helpful. But one of the things you have to be careful of in situations like that is that you have to make sure that you don't let the opinions of other people take you away from the work that Satan wants you to do. Because we have to realize that each and every person has their own particular task that they are supposed to do for Satan. And we can't let ourselves be distracted by others and what others think we should do from having us do the work that Satan wants us to do. So we have to be very careful of that. So here's my recommendation. Make sure you do your daily practice. Make sure you spend time on your own with Satan every day, especially when you've been influenced by others, because it's not just the opinions of others, but you can get infected by their energy. You can have people that are very negative around you that will bring you down, that will affect your aura, that will affect your spiritual essence. I mean, there are people that are parasites. They tend to suck the energy out of people. They tend to suck the energy out of a room. They will bring a party down. They will bring a gathering down and make everybody feel miserable. And you have to guard yourself against people like that. And one of the ways you do that is by making sure that you do your daily practice. You do your daily meditation. You do your daily grounding rituals. You make sure that you connect with Satan, and you do that daily and cleanse yourself. It's very important because people can affect you. Now, I want to add one other thing before I end this short podcast, which is if you do get involved in a group, don't go into a group trying to change the group from within. If you're going to be a member of a coven or a member of a satanic order or whatever, make sure you go into it with the intention of finding a group that fits your personality and your beliefs. Don't go into it with the idea that, oh, I'm going to change it or I'm going to make them change to fit me if they want me to be a member. That's not the right attitude. You should try to find a group, if you're going to work with a group, that fits you already, that's true to your nature, so that you're in harmony with it. I really do believe in satanic hierarchy. I know it may seem like I don't believe in satanic hierarchy, but I do. I believe you should respect your mentors. You should respect your priesthood. And if you don't believe they're genuine priesthood worthy of respect, you shouldn't be a member of that group in the first place. But if you genuinely believe that the group you're a part of is trying to do genuine work for Satan, you have an obligation to respect them. And one of the ways you respect them is by getting involved in things that you agree with and not trying to change the group once you get involved in it. Because a lot of people, they join groups to try and make a name for themselves, to be somebody. They don't join groups because they support the mission. They don't join groups because they agree with the objectives. They join the group so they can say they joined the group, and so they can get up in the ranks and then become one of the leaders so they can brag about how they're one of the leaders of this supposed group, right? And that's not the right reason to go into a group, and it leads to bad stuff. But I'm only bringing that up just to bring it back to the point, is that when you work with people, you want to work with people that you feel are in harmony with you. And if they're not in harmony with you, do yourself a favor, do them a favor, leave the group. Don't hang around. Don't be a part of a group just because you feel desperate for fellowship. Don't get involved with people just because you feel that you need some companionship or you want to share your ideas with people. Because if you do that, it usually only leads to bad things. Okay? Just remember to have your own connection with Satan, to spend time with Satan on your own, to make sure that you're doing what Satan wants you to do. See, we're all individuals, and Satan gives us all different tasks. We all have our true will, our true destiny. And as I've talked about in past episodes, I believe that each and every person has a true destiny, a true purpose for which Satan has them here. And once you find that purpose, your life will start going well. Things will be in harmony. Things will kind of click together like puzzle pieces. And you'll notice that your life will start to change, and the momentum of your life will change, and you'll start having much better luck. And that's what Crowley believed. He believed that every person was born with a true will, a purpose for which they were created, or a purpose for which they were born. And when they found that true will, then their life and the universe itself would work in harmony with them to help them fulfill that true will. And I believe that to some degree. With Satan, I believe that when you find that purpose for which you were created, or for which you were drawn to this path, your life will get better, and it will make your life a positive experience, not a negative one. So if you don't feel right about something, or you feel like somebody's misleading you or guiding you in the wrong direction, or even trying to impose their will on yours, don't pay attention to them. Do what Satan wants you to do. Do what you feel guided to do. And that's one of the reasons why I stepped back and decided to delay the start of this ministry, because I feel like I'm in the process of developing certain ritual practices, certain techniques. And if I rush this process, I'm not going to be doing it on Satan's timeline. I'm going to be doing it on mine. And that's not a good thing. You always want to make sure that you're doing things on Satan's timeline, not yours. Because if you do things on your timeline, you can tend to force things, and the bad things can happen because of that. And that's not a good thing, because sometimes it can screw things up for years, and it takes years to clean it up afterwards. And I'm really bad for that. I tend to force things when I want something to get done, I tend to force things, and I tend to make bad things happen, because rather than being patient and waiting for Satan's will to be done, I try to force things that I think he wants done before it's time. And that's never a good thing. And it always ends up resulting in bad experience for everyone involved, usually. So we'll talk about that on the next episode. Until then, take care of yourself. May Satan be with you. And as always, make sure to promote this podcast to someone who you think will like it. Make sure to give us reviews if you're in a place where you think that's appropriate. And as always, I appreciate your help. I appreciate your support. Take care of yourself, everybody. Have a good one. Later.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Illumination Report podcast. For the latest news headlines, show information, and more, go to rjwomack.com. That's rjwomack.com.